Dear students, very good morning. Welcome to SOEM program on Information Technology Applications in Libraries. In last class, we discussed about e-resources, its features, and its important functions, as well as various types of e-resources that are available in our libraries. Today, we are going to discuss e-resource acquisition and licensing. This is today's agenda. We are going to discuss on acquisition of e-resources, methods of acquisition of electronic resources, licensing of e-resources, licensing consideration of electronic resources, best practices for e-resource licensing in the AI-driven environment, and we will be having the conclusion part. Learners, in today's rapidly evolving information era, library collection development has expanded far beyond traditional print resources. Digital and electronic materials are now essential parts of contemporary library collections, making it nearly unimaginable to envision a library without access to these advanced information tools. Libraries face growing demands in incorporate a broad range of e-resources, ensuring users can access diverse information regardless of their location. Acquisition of e-resources. The acquisition and licensing of electronic resources in libraries play a crucial role in ensuring access to high quality digital content for research, teaching, and learning. These processes involved identifying, evaluating, procuring, and managing digital content while adhering to legal and financial considerations. So, all this process we will be going to discuss in detail. So, we can say that the process of acquisition of e-resources involved selection and evaluation, licensing and agreements, budget and funding, and vendor management. Let us see what is selection and evaluation. Libraries conduct a thorough evaluation of potential e-resources to access their relevance, quality, and appropriateness. Important factors considered include the scope of the subject matter, the timeliness of the information, and the reliability of the content and the reputation of the publisher or the supplier or providers. This process ensures that the chosen e-resources effectively address the academic or research needs of the user community. So the selection of e-resources is playing very important role. If you are selecting wrong information or wrong resources, it will not only create a financial burden to us, but also there will be no use of such documents, and it will be total wastage of our money and the energy. The next is licensing and agreements. In this process, necessitates the negotiation and management of licensing agreement with the publishers or vendors. So the libraries must thoroughly analyze the terms and conditions of these agreements, paying very close attention to user access permissions, restrictions on simultaneous usage, provisions for interlibrary loan, and rights to perpetual access. So we have to be very much consider about such a type of right and the facilities what the publisher is supposed to give to our users. The next is budgeting and funding. As you know, budgeting and funding are very important aspects of subscribing or purchasing electronic resources. Financial planning is integral to e-resource acquisition as libraries need to account for various costs including subscription fees, one-time purchases, ongoing maintenance and technical support. Proper allocation of funds is critical to sustaining the access and ensuring the resource availability. Next, another important aspect or another important process in the uh, electronic resources acquisition is vendor management. Identifying reliable vendors and maintaining effective communication and partnership with them are essential for acquiring and managing e-resources. So we have to build a collaborative relationship with vendors and the suppliers that will facilitate access to high quality content and ensures ongoing support and updates. Now let us see what are different methods of acquisition of electronic resources. According to Crebium and Halloy, there are four primary methods for acquiring electronic resources in academic libraries. The first method of acquisition is subscription, second is purchase, third one is through consortium, and the fourth one is open access. Now let us see what is subscription. This involves obtaining a license to access electronic resources for a specific period. Once you subscribe the journal or e-resources, you will be having the right to use or you will get the license to use the journal for a particular period. For example, subscribing to an academic journal database like JSTOR or Spingerlink or Elsevier that grants access to a vast collection of research materials for a set of time frame, after which the library must renew the subscription. After the period is over, then library is supposed to renew the subscription. And sometimes you can purchase also. In this method involves directly buying electronic resources. For instance, a library might purchase perpetual access to an electronic book or a digital collection such as Oxford Handbook Online, Encyclopedia Britannica, which grants the library permanent ownership of that content. Another method of acquisition of periodicals or electronic resources is consortium method. A consortium, or sometimes called as a consortium, is a cooperative network of libraries that jointly acquire resources, through which libraries within a consortium often benefit from discounted rates for electronic resources. Such consortium, all the member libraries can access as much as documents, as much as electronic resources according to the terms and conditions of the consortium. So most of the cases, the libraries will get much benefit because they will be able to access maximum number of e-resources through any consortium model. For example, the InfLibNet, the Information and Library Network Center at Ahmedabad in India, facilitates collective purchasing of electronic resources for academic institutions. Often the price reductions or additional content based on existing holdings. With the initiative of InfLibNet and AICT, they started a new combined consortium known as Shaw Sindhu. It's known as eShaw Sindhu, through which many universities and IITs or technical institutions they can access maximum number of electronic journals and other e-resources. But recent development of Government of India, they passed one nation, one subscription policy. They will also suggesting one sort of a consortium in which all the academic institutions will be able to access maximum number of electronic resources. Next one is open access. In this method, provides a free and unrestricted online access to scholarly content, through which a user can access as many as e-books, e-journals, or e-databases at a free of cost. A prominent example is PubMed Central, a free database of biomedical and life sciences literature, where reputable publishers and institutions make valuable research available to the public at free of cost. There are many e-books, websites, as well as many databases. They providing their content at free of cost. For example, the Google Books or the journals which is available under the directory of open access journals, open access books. You will be able to access electronic resources at free of cost. Now let us discuss the second part of today's topic, licensing of e-resources. We discuss how we will be able to acquire the e-resources. But while acquiring the resources that we discuss, there is a process of licensing of e-resources. Now let us discuss what is licensing of e-resources. Licensing of e-resources involves formal legal agreements between libraries and institutions with publishers or vendors, specifying the terms and conditions for accessing and using digital content such as e-databases, e-books, e-journals, or other multimedia materials. So these agreements outline critical aspects including access rights, intellectual property provisions, and the principles of collaboration in a globally connected environment. A effective license agreement clearly defines authorized users, the scope of licensed content, the access period, associated cost, and ownership of intellectual property rights. So once if you're having a proper licensing of e-resources or the proper agreement with the publisher and the vendors, so there will be no confusion or conflict later on. The licensing also delineates fair use provisions such as creating and distributing course materials or article sharing, and indicates whether interlibrary loan is permissible. Mutual negotiation of such agreements ensures benefit for all parties involved. That means the licensee, the licensor, and the end users. To safeguard the interest of the users, it is crucial to thoroughly review the terms and conditions of e-resource licensing agreements before finalizing them. So, what are things to be considered while you will be making an agreement or while you will be making a licensing with the publisher or vendors for subscription of electronic resources? So, the licensing considerations play a critical role in the acquisition of electronic resources. Unlike physical materials, e-resources are typically not owned outright but require a formal license agreements. It is essential to carefully review the license to guide the evaluation process and ensure it aligns with the expectation of the selectors before finalizing the purchase. Key licensing aspects include access provisions, archiving, and perpetual access policies, fair use rights, course reserves, availability of usage statistics, vendor support, and technical requirements. We should remember the access provisions, archiving facilities, perpetual access policies, fair use rights, the course reserves, the availability of usage statistics, It is also very essential to know the feedback, vendor support, and technical requirements. So all these points should be kept in your mind. So these elements are vital to safeguarding the library's interest and ensuring the need of its users are effectively met within the licensing framework. So these key licensing considerations, as elaborated in the International Federation of Library Associations and Institutions (IFLA) guidelines, so this also including these points which we discussed. The points includes there should be access provisions, archiving and perpetual access, fair use and educational activities, vendor support and technical considerations, usage statistics and reporting, legal and contractual considerations, flexibility and customizations. Students, now let us have a quick look about these points. I think it is very important while you going to make an agreement with your publishers or vendors to access electronic resources. What is access provisions? Licenses should comprehensively define authorized users and sites. Authorized users typically include students, faculty, staff, visiting researchers, and public users, those who are accessing the resources via institutional facilities. This agreement should also support remote access through IP authentications, ensuring simultaneous usage without the need for individual passwords. These provisions enable equitable and convenient access to all eligible users while fostering seamless integration into libraries' digital ecosystem. Another important point is archiving and perpetual access. The perpetual access is a right to continuously access licensed electronic materials such as electronic journals, electronic books, or e-databases even after a paid subscription ends. That means once you subscribing the journal or ebook, once the subscription ends, then also we will be having some facility or some provision to access these journals which you already subscribed, you already paid for some more times, or we can access it continuously, all these electronic journals. So we can say a vigorous archiving policy is crucial for ensuring the longevity of subscribed content. Resource providers are encouraged to adhere the standards such as looks, lots of copies keep stuff safe, or other alternative complaint solutions. Licenses should also include clauses guaranteeing perpetual access to content occurred during the subscription period, even after the agreement's termination. So, this perpetual access provision safeguards the library's investment and ensures a continued access to critical scholarly resources of the libraries. Fair use and educational activities. The licenses should clearly uphold fair use rights for non-commercial purposes such as teaching, research, and private study. Educational provisions must repeat. The next is fair use and educational activities. This is very important aspects of a electronic resource subscription. The licenses should clearly uphold fair use rights for non-commercial purposes such as teaching, research, and private study. Educational provisions might permit the inclusion of licensed materials in course packs, their availability on course reserves, or their distribution through inter-library loans. These provisions are essential to ensure that resource usage aligns with the library's goal of supporting academic and research endeavors. Vendor support and technical consideration is another important aspect we have to be considered while making a licenses with our vendors. Robust vendor support is crucial for the efficient management of electronic resources in a library. Licenses should specify obligations related to technical assistance, system stability, and timely resolution of issues. Moreover, resources should integrate seamlessly with the library's current infrastructure and adhere to accessibility standards, ensuring fair access for all users, including individuals and disabilities. The provision of detailed and reliable usage statistics is essential for evaluating resource effectiveness and informing renewal decisions. Licensing agreements should mandate compliance with standards like counter, ensuring consistency and accuracy in data reporting. This helps libraries to assess cost effectiveness and the impact of resources on the user engagement. And legal and contractual considerations. The legal aspects of licensing involved specifying the governing laws, methods for solving the disputes, and payment conditions. The licenses should also outline responsibilities for unauthorized use while acknowledging the practical challenges of library oversight. Clear provisions on renewal, cancellations, and penalties further enhance the agreement's clarity and fairness. Flexibility and customization. Modern licensing agreements should offer flexibility to adapt and changing the institutional needs. For instance, libraries may transition to e-only subscriptions or opt for different access models as required. Provisions for customization such as branding or tailored resource integration enhance the utility and relevance of licensed materials. So this is the important points which you have to be kept while we going for agreements for subscribing or purchasing electronic resources. Next, we can think about the best practices for e-resource licensing in the artificial intelligence driven environment. We have the automated license review. So the artificial intelligence tools like Legal Sifter, Luminance, DocuPace, and License Spring facilitate the automated analysis of license agreements, identifying problematic terms and conditions, as well as interpreting the complex legal language to aid libraries and organizations. Such type of AI tools will be much helpful when you before proceeding to the legal agreement with the publishers. Customized license creation. AI technologies enable the generation of tailored license agreements, aligning with the unique requirements of both libraries and vendors. Some examples of customized license creation AI tools are Legal Sifter, DocuPace, RightFront Navigate, and License Spring. Negotiation support. AI assist in negotiating terms by providing insights and recommendations, making the process more effective and transparent. For example, Librarian Saurus, Evisort, Cogito, and Negotiation Hub. For compliance and monitoring, AI systems help track adherence to license agreements, ensuring all parties fulfill their contractual obligations. Some examples of AI tools for compliance monitoring are RightFind Navigate, CCC, and Compliance Sheriff. And if you need a trend analysis by identifying patterns and trends with license agreement, artificial intelligence provides actionable insight to the implications of library users and services. The example is Cortex, also known as SciByte. For innovative licensing models, AI facilitates the development of novel licensing framework that better address the dynamic needs of libraries and content providers. The example of innovative license model based AI tool is Catalyst QM. And Zapier AI tool can be used for enhanced resource management. This will streamline the workflows, improve the resource management processes, and will optimize the review and renewal of licenses. Data usage and optimization tools. Artificial intelligence based data optimization tools helps libraries and organizations to gain actionable insights into resource utilization, enabling strategic decisions. For example, Thorin.ai, X Libris Esploro, and Serial Solutions e-resource analytics. Dear learners, acquiring and licensing electronic resources are now key components of contemporary library management, as the digital content is vital for ensuring wide-ranging and flexible access to information. However, the complexities of licensing agreements and a growing range of e-resource pose significant challenge for librarians. Successfully managing these resources requires not only understanding the technicalities of the contracts, but also negotiating favorable terms that align with the library's mission and user needs. By staying informed about licensing options and carefully considering contract terms, libraries can effectively navigate the digital landscape and ensure that they offer relevant, accessible, and valuable resources to their users. Moreover, with the increasing reliance on electronic materials, librarians must adopt strategic approaches to collection management, balancing the benefits of e-resources with the practical realities of legal and financial constraints. Dear learners, this is the end of this session. These are the references which I have used to prepare this content, and I wish all of you a big thanks for your patience listening. We will be meeting with another topic in the next class. Till then, goodbye. Take care.